Hey, it's Mark helping you to understand English grammar, and we're at the very end of chapter 3. So what we're going to do is zip through about 7 or 8 practice sentences here and show you how to diagram them. We're going to go really quickly, but what you can do is pause and write them down, and what you try to do is write down the sentence, diagram it on your own first, and then come back and look at the video. All right, and I'll give you my thought process as I attack these sentences as we go. Can you read this aloud for me, Kenny?
After several weeks on the job, Doris and Maddell became best buddies.
All right, what am I going to do? Well, the first thing I see up here is a big, long prepositional phrase. Remember that? I'm just going to save it for later. And then I'm left with a couple of names, and that leads me to see the verb right here. So if I'm just going to start like this, every diagram will start like this, and then we'll try to figure out where things go. We see that we have a compound subject. That's diagrammed like this with your and. And who are they, Ken?
Doris and Maddell.
All right, that's Doris and Maddell. And what are they doing? So they became something, right? Already I know that I'm going to be looking for, I see another noun at the end, and I see best buddies. Is this referring to somebody different or the same two people?
No, it's referring to the same two people.
So then I know right away, I don't know if you remember, Kenny, but what pattern would that be?
That would be
Pattern 5. It looks like a pattern 3, right? It's not a pattern 3 because it's not a be verb. If you're saying Doris and Maddell are best buddies, you have your pattern 3. That's it. Let's, best. We have that little qualifier there. Good. And then our prepositional phrase we forgot. That's going to be adverbial. It'll go like this because it's time and place, right? When did they become best buddies?
after several weeks.
Okay, so if it's time and place, it's going to be adverbial, meaning under the verb. Several. And on the job, what kind of weeks are we talking about? Which weeks?
The weeks on the job.
Okay, so on the job is another prepositional phrase. Modifying week, that's adjectival to which kind of weeks? What kind of weeks? The ones on the job. You got it. Let's move on. I know we're going quickly here, but you can always pause and rewind. What you need to do is try to diagram it yourself. Pause it right now. Can you read this one out for me, Kenny?
The librarian found me a pamphlet and 2 articles.
Okay, write that down and start like this. Pause and come back. We'll show you how to do it. Welcome back. All right, Kenny, do you see the subject?
Yes, the librarian.
You're halfway there. What did the librarian do something?
She found.
All right, already we have an idea that it's going to be different from that pattern 5, right? She must have found something. It's a little tricky here. What'd she find?
She found a pamphlet and 2 articles.
All right, and we might be tempted to say she found what?
Me.
Okay, were we playing hide and seek or something?
No.
No, then it would be the direct object, but it's not. The thing that she found, and again, we have this little compound direct object here. What'd she find?
She found a pamphlet and 2 articles.
Articles. Okay, who's left?
You.
All right, and that of course goes here. Do you remember what I am called in this sentence?
No.
We have subject, direct object, and, you remember?
No.
Indirect object. So we have, remember, if we have 3 noun phrases, noun phrase 1, noun phrase 2, and this compound is noun phrase 3, gotta be what pattern? How do you spell 8? With a 3. That's your pattern 8 sentence. Once again, noun phrase 1, noun phrase 2, and a. This makes this together one noun phrase, okay, compound noun phrase, the pamphlet and the articles. Let's move on to the next one. Kenny, can you read this out for us?
Eager sunbathers crowded the beach during the first warm days in May.
That's kind of a big mouthful, right? But what are we going to do? All we're going to do is go like this and go like this. Don't ever forget, the diagrams are not some kind of extra task. They're the way that, the tool, I guess, that helps you figure out what's going on in the sentence. Right away, you can at least do the subject, right, Kenny?
Yeah.
What is it?
Sunbathers.
All right. What kind of sunbathers?
The eager sunbathers.
Okay. We can do that pretty easily, right? And then we know what they're doing. What are they doing?
They're sunbathers.
No. Look at,
They crowded the
they crowded, that's what they did. Did they crowd something?
Yes, they crowded the beaches.
Okay. What do we have left here? Well, what does it go? Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, amid, among, around, at, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but, by, down, during, except, for, from. What is this thing? This whole thing is a big, long prepositional phrase. Now, is it adjectival or adverbial? That's what I'm asking myself. Is it telling us what kind of sunbathers or which sunbathers? Is it telling us which beaches this happened on? Or is it giving us time and place?
It's giving you time and place.
Time and place will always be adverbial. So during when?
During the warm days in May.
During days, right? Days will be the object of your preposition. And which days are you talking about?
The warm days in May.
The first.
The first warm days in May.
This is another preposition, right? So it's which days is what it's answering the question. Which one or what kind? It'll be adjectival, right? In May. That's it. Oh, what pattern would this one be?
It would be,
Is it a pattern 1, 2, or 3?
no.
Why?
Because there's no be
No be verb, right. So what do you think it is?
a pattern.
Well, this is a pattern 8, right? Because there were 3 noun phrases. How many noun phrases do we have?
3.
Where? 1, 2. That's it. That's now, and so that would be a pattern 7. Remember our little trick? You spell a 7 with a 2. If there's 2 noun phrases, it's a pattern 7. Moving on. Again, we're going a little quickly. You can pause, you can rewind, whatever you have to do. Can I have my little wire? There we go. Let's move into the back of the room, see if my microphone reaches. Great. Read that out for me, Kenny. Are you on it?
The team leader broke down the major goals into 3 specific tasks.
Okay, once again, the diagram is not an extra task. It's a tool to help you figure out and sort all these things out. What's the subject, buddy?
The team leader.
All right, so what's the one word that goes here?
Leader.
Okay. Which leader?
The team leader.
Okay. What's my next question I'm going to ask myself? Team leader must have been up to something, right? What would the team leader do?
He broke down the major goals.
All right, now this one's a little tricky, all right? Down, of course, usually looks like a preposition, but didn't he do something? You already said it as you read it out. You wanted to use both of these together. And that's what we call a phrasal verb, a verb that has 2, usually it's a preposition and the verb together is acting like the verb. So he broke down something. What did he break down?
He broke down the major goals.
The goals, okay. Now, what are we left with? What's the end of that sentence?
Into 3 specific.
Right, so that's near, aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, amid, among, around, up, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but, by, down, during, except, for, from, in, into, like. So that makes this a prepositional phrase, right? So now we're going to ask, into 3 specific tasks. Is it saying which kind of goals? Is that the question it's answering? Is it answering the question which leader? Or is it talking about how the breakdown happened? What do you think, dude?
How the breakdown happened.
All right, so it's going to be an adverbial prepositional phrase. Tasks, right? 3, specific. What pattern do we have then if there are 2 noun phrases? What? Wait a minute. Is it a pattern 1, 2, or 3?
No.
Why not? All right, so what do we have? Noun phrase 1 and noun phrase 2. What number in Roman numerals is spelled with a 2?
7.
So it's a pattern 7. All right, let's move on.